Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at some of these coins. We'll have a look a bit of an overview of what's going on with Bitcoin, but really what we're doing now is we're actually going to get excited for what could be an upcoming and substantial alt season unlike you've perhaps maybe never even seen before in your lifetime, unless you were involved with cryptocurrency from the olden days, the 2017 days, those were the days. And those days will come again. I'm not saying that these days are going to be like that specifically, but they will likely be pretty substantial. Now, there's been a few really good things happen other than the Bitcoin price. The most important thing is the Dixie, alright? So now it does very much look as though we can confirm that there is going to be a lower dollar indefinitely. This dollar is dying. It's dying off, which is sad for the people who live in the United States. Sad for anybody who wants to buy a house, sad for anybody who basically wants to do anything. But technically it's good for those of us who are looking to invest, buy, trade. It basically gives us a lot of value for money for what's likely to continue with this momentum. Now, we were looking at this chart, feeling relatively nervous around this support zone here. This was the 200 exponential on the monthly. The last time we came down to this level, we bounced, and the last time we came down to this level was the all-time high with Bitcoin. Now, what's happened this time is we came down here, we played with this level, and since yesterday, the Fed announced that 0 to 0.25% interest is going to be made available to perhaps maybe even 2023, and that is more than we're going to need, because all we're really interested in is trying to make as much money as possible in the next 12 months while this next Bitcoin cycle continues and finishes. This is really good news, and this is what's driven this move. I mean, this move was always going to happen. Bitcoin was always going to move, but to have a move of this size and this velocity basically corresponds to that news that came out of the Federal Reserve yesterday, and that news has basically allowed for this horrendous dumping of the dollar. And because this is now what would confirm to be a failed bounce, and what will look like a monthly consolidation from this move, I would actually be targeting, over the next year, areas down to basically the launch pad here. There's nothing really is going to save us. We've got to look at some of these other areas that could catch bounces. So maybe we could catch a bounce around 88.4. Maybe we could catch a bounce around 86.2. Maybe we could catch a bounce around 83. But to be honest with you, with those kind of interest rates, I'm not really seeing any substantial bounces or reversal patterns until we come down to these lower levels. So we've got plenty of room to move. So that was nice and boring for you. I know that's got nothing to do with crypto charts themselves, but it is very, very, very important. And this is the thing that has basically sparked, in my opinion, this is the thing that has sparked this extra long melt up of the Bitcoin price. So Bitcoin basically overreaching massively, breaking through all areas of support and resistance, so straight through 20,000, straight through 20,800, straight through 21,500, straight through 22,500, which is technically where I would have considered to be the top, and could perhaps maybe be the local top for now. But because this is happening at the same time, it will give us the power to overreach. Now what we're going to look at now is how can we benefit from this? Those who are in Bitcoin, or those who have longed Bitcoin, or those who own Bitcoin, you might want to continue holding that. There's no reason why you shouldn't. It certainly is at this point now looking much better today than it was yesterday, not because of this, but because of this. And this is going to dictate this. I mean, this will correspond to all assets. It'll be good to buy gold, silver, anything, stocks, anything. Even me sitting here with my Great British Pound in my pocket is worth more today against the dollar than it was yesterday because of this, substantially more, and will probably continue to be worth more, which is good for me because I like a strong pound. I like my money in my bank being worth more, but unfortunately for the American population, that's not going to be the case for you for quite a little while longer. So don't worry about it. If you're watching this channel, I assume you're involved in investing and trading, so you should be fine to make up those losses of your dollar. So what we're going to look at now is altcoins, really. So obviously the top cap coins are going to be moving. They will be moving, and they are moving. But because Bitcoin has moved so dramatically, the Bitcoin dominance has increased, and that's fine by me. Because what we're looking at is to still play out this channel. This channel is is essentially what we trade altcoins against. So as we see, we come up to test this level around 73, down towards the bottom, and then we launch all the way up to the top of the channel, all the way down to the bottom of the channel. This is where Bitcoin gathers strength again, all the way up to the top. We had a bit of a rejection from this one now, and now because of this giant move, we're pushing all the way up to the top of the channel. So this, in my book, means that we're looking to find some decent alts with some decent charts. And where can we find those charts? Well, you can get involved in the top caps, that's fine. They're certainly, worth going in, but I'm more interested in going for some of the smaller caps, especially because I want to be trading on my bot. So I'm going to be picking some of these up. I've already got quite a few of them in my spot anyway, but I want to actually try and trade these in my bot trading. And actually, if you're interested in bot trading, now is a great time to set it up. So these are my bots at the moment. I set this one up last night, and this one last night as well, and they're doing okay. They're less than 24 hours old, and obviously I set them up in a strange situation, but I'm looking to carry these on up until January, and I'll show you why. But when I mention about the bot trading, these bots operate on a grid, and they basically buy and sell constantly, generating your bot profit in whatever cryptocurrency pair you decide. So I use Ethereum, and at the moment I'm using BNB for my bigger ones because BNB is a slightly more stable. You want your base pair to be less valuable than the pair you're trading with. That's how you make the majority of your profit. But the reason I mention this is that soon, and maybe even next week, this bot will be able to do futures trading, which basically means that you will be able to put your money into your Binance account. You will be able to configure, and I've shown tutorials on this. You can configure your bots to operate your Binance account for you now to do futures trading, which is, these bots have a really, they generally don't lose money. I've never had one that loses any money. But the futures trading is going to be absolutely epic. I would definitely suggest set yourself an account up. You'll get a 14-day free trial of these bots if you use my link below. And then if you want to continue after that, then you can pay. But they're not going to ask you, and no one's going to ask you for any money. You've got that 14 days to trial it out. And like I say, if you set it up now, the futures trading should be available by next week. And I wouldn't want to miss out on that one, certainly not. That is where there's going to be some real money being made on that. Some massive amounts of money. Anyway, let's get back to the chart. So the first chart I'm looking at here is Holochain, okay? Holochain versus USD. Now, if we look back in time, we see a very, very bearish looking chart. It does not look good at all, but this is fine. We're looking for cycles, okay? We're looking for a cycle. This is the all-time high all the way up here, essentially 4 times the value of where it is right now. Just show that 3 times the value of where it is right now. These areas certainly are targets, in the reasonably long term, okay, over the next 12-month period. This will be a target, and this target I expect will be taken out. Now what we're looking at here is a consolidation pattern which is broken, and now what we're looking at here is what's known as accumulation. Now the accumulation here could quite easily go down. We do have I suppose a channel. We've been testing this support, which was previously an area of rejection and resistance. We've broken out of there, and now we're testing that as support. This looks very much to me like the way XRP behaved when it broke out of its consolidation pattern. So what happens is we break out of it, we have a rally out, we have some more rallies because people are getting very excited because not a lot of people will have recognized this for what it is. And now we've broken out of it. Now what we had is a rejection zone here of resistance, which we've also broken out of, and a support trend line which we're looking to reclaim. This could be the beginning of a very short period of accumulation, and after that period we will be looking to make new highs on this one, and highs will be substantial. Now, one other thing that we look at here is the red Ichimoku cloud has finished. It's gone on the daily. Let's have a look on the weekly. Now, a lot of these coins are looking like this on the weekly. Okay, so it's still clearly a consolidation phase. We're not above and not broken above some of these major moving averages like the green 50 exponential. That's what we want to do. And we've still got this area of resistance, a significant cloud to make our way above. And this is again the weekly. So we're talking into January before this starts to move. Now I said this the same with the XRP. XRP had a slightly different weekly setup to this one because it was a longer token, so you could look at certain other indicators which are more reliable because XRP is a much older coin with older chart history and full market cycles. But there is a definite similarity to the way that these two are looking at the moment. So when I made the call on XRP, saying that yes, this is the bottom, we should be good to go, you know, for January is what I expected. Shortly after that, it launched. So some of these things can launch way before. Now, this doesn't have that exact pattern, that exact setup. So I would be saying that you could perhaps maybe buy now. This would be essentially the bottom zone, the bottom area, and January would likely be the point where we launch. Now, what we see on the weekly MACD, positive cross up. We see money flow index trickling up. We see volume pouring into it because this is very, very low volume back here, and it's still low volume now. But we see the hallmarks of what could be an accumulation period and ready for launch, basically. And again, these are the targets for next year. Or I'm not saying January, I'm saying for next year. These are the targets, and they are realistic. They might seem a bit strange, but they are realistic. All right. Once we've got out of this big red cloud and we get our conversion over the baseline, which isn't looking like it's going to happen anytime soon, but by January we should get that, and that would be the ultimate buy signal, like the one we saw with XRP. XRP had a much longer accumulation period. I've been talking about it for a long time, saying this is the accumulation period. Let's get in, let's buy in, let's stock up, let's accumulate. That's what it's for. We are now in the accumulation phase for Holochain, and we've not got the ultimate buy signal yet, but I imagine by January we will. So this is the accumulation phase. Accumulation phase is deadly because accumulation can begin anywhere from this top here down to this bottom. 42% possible retrace, you know, before that ultimate buy signal has kicked in. So you could be buying the top of the accumulation zone here, but an accumulation zone is that. Whether you've been buying, you know, I have to keep referencing XRP because it's something that you'd be able to understand now, given what's happened to XRP. Accumulation, it doesn't mean you're getting in at a bottom. It means you're getting at a bottom area, a bottom zone. Now, if we look at this on a long enough scale, this does look like a bottom zone. And if you were to look at XRP right now, you can now recognize that those levels are bottom zones. But when I was talking about them, you know, people were leaving comments here saying, "You're buying the top. You're foolish. XRP's dead." There's a rhythm to certain charts, you see, and there's things that you look for, and this one has now broken out of its consolidation phase, and it is now in accumulation. So that is one of the bots I've got going. It's also one of the spot holds that I've got. I do like this, and I like it because it's going to move not immediately, but it will move, and it will move dramatically, in my opinion. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, so this isn't financial advice. This is just me and my strategies for picking the next big movers. All right, it's easy to get sidetracked by the ones that have already moved. The ones that you want to be buying, I suppose, are the ones that are going to make a move. That's how I look at these things. You don't get in on the ones that are already moving or have moved, and then you try to buy the top on FOMO. You buy the ones that have got the biggest room to move, and there's reasons for that, and this is one of the reasons. Exactly the same deal when we look at Algorand. Look at I mean, I'm not saying that we're going to go up to this level. I'm not saying that. I mean, there's a chance that we will, and I'm not disputing that this cannot be taken out. But what I'm also looking at is in a period of accumulation of its own doing, but in a different light. It's a different type of chart that we're looking at here. So we go to the weekly. What we see is giant red cloud dissipating into January, into the green. We're still, you know, I suppose accumulating, but it's not in the same zones and it's not as obvious as the Holochain. We do, I suppose, have this, what you could consider to be a resistance trend line, but more importantly, we have a shorter term time frame that we're looking to take out around this would be it. It was around these levels here. So this again sparks what looks to me like this was the bottom. This is the accumulation zone now that we're in right now. and now we're looking to poke our heads above the green 50 exponential. Not quite as bullish yet. This is still very early days. Not got that cross on the weekly. Nothing's yet confirmed. No Ichimoku cloud cross. We've got a negative one here, but they are now starting to converge a little bit, and only until we reach sort of higher areas will these actually converge completely and make that cross, which would again be the ultimate buy signal. We are looking at that on the weekly, so let's go to a daily and we'll see how this looks on the daily. So on the daily, it's basically, this is what you expect from breaking out of consolidation going into accumulation. Slightly better actually on the daily here. Incoming could be incoming golden cross if we remain above areas of 32 cents, and that golden cross taking place on the daily. Let's have a look at the 12 hourly to see how that looks. This should happen perhaps maybe even today or tomorrow. Golden cross on this 12 hourly chart is pretty much in the bag. And when we look at the other indicators here, very nice moves on the MACD, money flow index and RSI, and soon we will be above these clouds. With this golden cross here on the 12 hourly should then correspond over to the daily and obviously into the weekly. And this one again, this is my biggest bot trade setup that I've got going at the moment. I've set up 95 BNB to be traded against this on a constant, permanent 24-hour basis with my bots, and I've also got a decent spot hold on this one. Now the last one we're going to look at is Fett. So this one, right, doesn't look like much at the moment. It's basically been what you could consider to be flat, but then when you zoom out and you see the scope of what madness is likely to occur shortly, then we will understand the gravity of what we're looking at here. This one has made a cross here on the daily. This one on the weekly is about to make a cross, so this is still early days. And again, red cloud, massive red cloud dissipating into January. So all of these coins basically following the same kind of pattern in a sense. This was the sell signal. Now there's not, you only really trade that one specifically, for ultimate buy signals when they've crossed again. But for the moment, this one is consolidating and perhaps maybe accumulating. Now, do we have any kind of rhythm to this that we can that we can work out? Does that make sense? No real rhythm to this, I'm afraid, other than the fact that on the weekly we're going to be moving out of this cloud in January. Now when we look at the size of the moves that took place here on this one, we have consolidated massively from that top to where we are at right now is a 70% retracement. If we look at it from where we were at the top all the way down to the bottom, that's an 80% retracement. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal to retrace that amount. But if we look at the gains that were made from this bottom to this top, we were talking 2,000% gains, all right? Over 2,000, 2,100 to be precise. Now, do you think that this coin is capable of doing those moves again, or do you think that was a one-off? I think this is one of those projects which would likely be adopted and put to use. It's not just a utility token for no reason. This one actually does have utility to it. I like a lot of these AI things. I like Ocean Protocol. I like Fett AI. And I also like the way that this chart is shaping up. I do believe that this will be surpassed, this move here, which means that if we were to be buying it, or if I were to be buying it right now, I would be looking at a 200% gain, pretty much no problem. I think this one's going to start to make bigger moves up, and eventually by the end of next year take out its all-time high, which would mean that from where we are right now to where we're going to go, there's a 769% return over a 12-month period and perhaps more. Now basically all of these are risky investments because these are low micro cap coins. We could be looking at an impending dump of Bitcoin if we've reached a local top. We could be looking at a retrace with Bitcoin. We're going to get little bounces along the way with the Dixie because it's reaching new lows, and lows are to be traded. But to be honest with you, with the state of this chart on every single time frame, the 1 hourly, the 4 hourly, the daily, and the weekly, and obviously we've looked at the monthly. We've got a death cross on this weekly now. Everything is bearish on every term time frame, which is great for cryptocurrencies. So like I say, I'm trading these on both spot and on bot trading, And if I were you, I'd get yourself involved in the bot trading, especially as they're introducing futures shortly. I'll leave a link for at the end of this video for you to have a look at how to set these up. And I would also suggest you set up a new Binance account for bot trading specifically, just to keep your assets separate, and also because I've got a link which will give you 20% back of your own trades. So all your trading fees will be reimbursed back to you at 20%. So you'll be saving money on all your trades anyway, whether that's futures or spot trading. It's just worth you setting it up, to be honest with you, and I'll leave a link below to set that up for you. And so all the links below, and Merry Christmas. It's going to be a good Christmas, it would appear. But be careful and don't go crazy, and thanks for watching the video. Take it easy.